ladies and gentlemen, I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living.
And nothing plain about us, John.
Nothing plain.
I'm Peggy
Shoot.
Burton. I'm so glad to be alive and here.
Me too.
What a treat that is.
Me too. Did you get any rain at your house yesterday?
Are you kidding? My pool is running over the. They're going to have to drain it.
Have the snakes come swimming yet,
Not
or was
yet,
it too?
not yet.
There was ice on the
Honestly.
car
That's what I heard.
this morning.
Shannon told me there's ice.
How's she?
She's sad, but she's
Okay.
She's a survivor. We're all
She's strong.
survivors.
She's like her mama. She's a strong woman.
We get up and go do what we have to
That's
do.
exactly
and,
right. That's exactly right.
We will always miss Dan. He was a nice, kind, and gentle person to me. I loved him, and losing him has been very sad.
Very sad. Jerry Kennedy, as we spoke last week, passed away last week and week before last on Saturday, and we had a service for him this week. And you know, it's just when it's time, and when it's your time,
When
it's your
it's time,
time.
you know, I expected to go way before my son-in-law. You know, I've been here a long time and grateful to have this ride.
You know, Peggy, though, the thing about it is I've got a book that Candy gave me for Christmas this year. Was it Christmas? Yeah, Christmas. The book of Charlie, about a guy that lived to be 109. And it's all the things that he had to say about his life, from wagons to
What? Yeah.
people walking on the moon.
I know it's amazing what the span of 100 years can tell you. I mean, think about it. I've gone from where a dollar bill, you were just half rich when I was like a young person.
Well, and as you think about that, you need to realize that there's probably not been, up until now, we don't know how things will progress
of
as we
course.
go along, but up until now, there's probably never been 100 years where humanity's way of life has
It's
changed
changed
more
drastically, absolutely.
than it has in the last 100
I mean,
years.
I've gone from a telephone on the wall where you rung a little thing on the side and said, "Martha, get me my grandma," and she would, to look at what
a
a
lot
phone
of
will do
people
now.
went from no telephone at all,
Exactly.
no TV at all.
I did.
We didn't have
I'll
a TV.
never forget the first TV. My sister came home from school one day, and I was little, and she said, "We're going to be able to have a movie in our house." That's the way she called it. I said, "You're lying." Anyway, it wasn't too long till we had a TV in our house. When we finally got electricity, that was another
Sure,
ball game.
sure.
When you lived out in the country, it didn't matter that the city had lights and electricity. You had to have enough people vote that they would, say that they would hook in, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And sign up. And finally, I remember when we got electricity, what a thrill that was. I wanted people to come in and take a bath in our bathtub. I was so excited.
My grandfather, my dad was born, I've said before, on a rice farm in South Louisiana, and when the Gray brothers went from, that was part of Evangeline Tale, they came from Nova Scotia and went down through through the Carolinas over into Arkansas and down into Louisiana, and when they got down there, they drove a stake in the ground.
Do you know why they chose Louisiana? Have you ever known why they
No, not really.
chose
Not really.
Louisiana?
They just were hunting land.
I think a lot of people that came from the old country were searching for land that looked a bit like what they left at home, maybe.
Well, but or just searching land, and at that point they had the Louisiana Purchase,
Right.
and that was there was land available, and they were. I mean, if they did advertising, which they didn't do back then, farmers welcome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so they went down there and staked out some land. Well, they didn't have any electricity, and my grandfather was one of three men who went to New Orleans and lobbied for Slimco, Southeastern Louisiana Rural Electric Company,
And finally,
and got that to where there was electricity in the outside of the city. And it was funny. One funny story is he would go to he'd go to New Orleans, and my grandmother didn't much care for him leaving home.
Yeah.
And Granddaddy was want to. I don't know whether they called it partying back then or not, but he'd like to have a drink.
He liked to have a drink or two.
Like to have a drink or two, and so she pinned $100 bills in his clothes. She pinned a $100 bill in his underwear and one in his socks.
So he could get home?
Well, in case somebody knocked him in the head, because New Orleans was a rough place. And if somebody knocked him in the head and took his money, he could dig around in his clothes and find enough money to get home. But they
was
found
a very conscientious
She
individual.
was. She wanted that man home.
I can't imagine anybody doing that.
But Granny Gray was she was something special.
I'm sure she was.
She was a special lady. Super Bowl, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I watched it till 9 o'clock, and then I was just too tired.
I got you.
And they were, tied and going into overtime.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my Lord, this is going to take all night. And Kansas City finally won,
Yeah,
right?
finally won it. And it was a great ball game. I mean, it went, like I say, it went into overtime. It wasn't a beat down by one of them to the other one. They two very, very, very good
strong
football teams.
They really were,
And
yeah.
it was probably, and they said it was not only the most watched Super Bowl, but it is the most watched event ever.
I can believe that. And they have
on television.
They've made a bigger deal every year, it seems, out of
Yeah.
Super Bowl. It gets bigger and bigger.
What did you
watched-
think about the halftime show?
I thought it was good. I don't always get it, but
Yeah, I'm not a big Usher fan because I don't know his music.
I think he's a good guy.
Oh, he is a good
And
guy.
I think that he had a spectacular
After it's
show.
over with, he went and got married.
Oh, really?
Heard that this morning. Yeah, he and his whoever it was that he runs with, they have 2 children together.
Yeah. So they
Went
decided
over to
get
the
married.
wedding chapel in Las Vegas and got married.
Well, good.
Good for him. Be a good father.
Well, it was a spectacular event, I have to say. And commercials, did you find one that you loved a lot?
I don't know. So some of them were funny, and I don't know.
See,
I wasn't paying that much attention to the commercials this time, and I usually do.
yeah, I usually
I had
do.
some
but-
interruptions and some things other things going
Yeah.
on, so I just didn't do
But it
that.
was a big day, and I didn't go to it, but the Civic Center showed it on the big screen and had
Yeah,
a big party,
good.
and I know that was fun for a lot of people.
Valentine's dance down at Bell Buckle
Bell
Banquet
Buckle,
Hall.
I didn't go this year
Right.
because I had issues, and I knew Samantha would do a fabulous
Oh, yeah.
job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you want a replacement, Samantha's number one to me. But anyway, she did a great job. They had a good turnout. I had organized a dance class with this Tim Taylor, who is a fabulous
Right.
dancer, and that was very successful. They had a good crowd. They were happy, and I'm real proud of them.
Well, I went yesterday to East Lincoln School, which I do every Monday, and read to my second graders, and
What'd you read? What'd you
they
read?
all had Valentines
Oh,
for me,
sweet.
and I had Valentines for them.
Did you bring some?
Well, I took this drawing that
I love
I
that.
did back in '22, and it's a cherub and a heart, and on the heart it says "Love, the greatest of them all."
That's beautiful.
And I got copies of that made, and I wrote on the back of it, my Valentine's gift for you is the path to happiness.
I like that.
Never give up on your dream.
Never.
Best always, Mr. John. They call me Mr. John.
Mr. John, yeah.
Mr. John. So
That's so sweet.
it was wonderful. I
That's
read
your-
this to him. I have a couple of Valentines. Oh,
That's your
and
third graders, right?
Second.
Oh, second
graders.
graders.
They're just amazing. This is something that it's not mine. I didn't do this, but it was a story that I read in Reader's Digest,
Okay.
and I read this to the kids, and I told them, I said it might be a little bit
And how did they
advanced
take
for
it?
you. I said, but do you know this guy named Harry Potter? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I said, well, do you know Dumbledore, who Dumbledore is? Oh, yeah, he's the head of the Hogwarts. And I said, in that movie, how many of them are there? And they said, oh, 7 or 8. And I said, there is probably 20 times in those movies where Dumbledore makes a remark about love.
Sweet.
And in one of the things he says to Harry, Harry, don't worry about those who pass on. Worry about those, be sorry. Don't be sorry for those who've left us. Be sorry for the ones who are still here and live without love.
That's a big statement.
Big statement.
That's beautiful.
And so this is what I read to these kids, and this came from a true story.
Okay.
And of course I had to distill it down because
Yeah.
it was many pages. I call it Roses Appear.
Okay.
The heart shapes placed around the house means Lover's Day is near. But one heart has been broken. Her love has died this year. The soulmate who kept love fresh and blooming in their home, each Valentine sent roses. But now that love is gone. She's worked hard to stay busy, filling up her life with things she hadn't needed as a lover and a wife. But Valentine's is special, it always was for them. And no matter how hard she tries, she can't stop missing him. Then roses appear at the front door, with a note penned in his hand declaring his love for now and evermore. How wonderful it is to be loved by such a man, who found a way to send his love undying through the years. So each and every Valentine's roses appear. Each springtime she'll get flowers until death knocks at her door. And she is reunited with her love forevermore. Then roses appear on her tombstone, with a note penned in his hand declaring a love that will live on and on. How wonderful it is to be loved by such a man who found a way to send his love undying through the years. So each and every Valentine's roses appear. Yes, he found a way to send his love undying through the years. Each and every Valentine's roses appear.
And that's beautiful.
And that's a true story. Now think
That's
about the
good.
kind of love someone would have to think that far in advance and make plans for that to happen.
For that to happen.
Unbelievable.
That's a beautiful thing.
And here's one more. I know we're supposed to go on, but we'll just do
That's
this
all right.
anyway. Because I got the camera. This is anonymous. This is an anonymous. You know, sometimes you find pieces and it just says anonymous.
I'm not right.
This is anonymous, but it fits. So it's called Only You. If I was asked what love is, my response would be, it's only you. It's only you since the first stoplight kiss. Only you, the only one I ever really miss. Only you who helped me find my faith. Only you who drives me crazy when you're late. Only you that with that wild and crazy hair. Only you who wears my underwear. Only you who grabs the bull by the horns. Only you who stands and breaks the wind and the storm. Only you who caresses life with a warm and gentle touch. Only you who sees equality and always gives so much. Only you who helps me battle the boogeyman at night and with the sun at your back makes everything all right. Only you do I listen to when you tell me that I'm wrong. Only you has that glance that puts me where I belong. Only you can make this hard ass melt like butter. Only you have been my constant through all of the joys and tears. A hand in hand, side by side, year after year. It's only you, you lovely, precious child. It's only you, dear, it's only you that's made it all worthwhile. You, the flower of my life, you, my one and only wife. So when I'm asked what love is, after all these years, the only answer I can give is it's only you, dear. It's only you.
That's your poem, right?
Huh? No,
No, that was anonymous. I'm sorry. Well, it sounded like you.
That's anonymous. Well, that's what I said. It seems to fit, but that's an anonymous piece
Well, it's a great piece.
that I found. And so, hey guys, don't forget tomorrow's Valentine's Day. And I know she'll say, oh, honey, it doesn't make any difference. Don't worry about that. We've done that for so long. Oh, yeah, it does. Go out and get that woman something. We'll be right back after these messages.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash clogging up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared.
But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective.
Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us.
Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Hey, gang, good morning to everybody. Welcome to the Millennium Moment. I don't know how long that is, but at least we're going to get a part of it, a moment or two. Our thoughts for today is a famous downtown landmark, the Davidson Park. Now, Tullahoma, as we mentioned a few weeks ago, Tullahoma is a railroad town. And the 100 block of North Atlantic was the location of the freight depot and the passenger depot right in front of First National Bank. And the motorized traffic became so heavy that when the train stopped to load and unload, they blocked Lincoln Street and blocked Grundy Street. So the railroad authorities jacked up the freight depot, laid track under it, and moved it 2 blocks south on South Atlantic Street, and they had plenty of room there to load and unload without blocking any streets. And in the meantime, a fellow by the name of Davidson, W.L. Davidson, was mayor of Tullahoma, and he turned that lot where the freight depot had been into a beautiful park. It was between the first and second blocks of North Atlantic Street on the west side. And there were beautiful mulberry trees and grass and bird baths and benches, and people came there to meet and to have lunch, and the police raised and lowered the city flag every day, and it was just a wonderful place for people to meet, and all the political candidates would come and pitch their program for public office. And the picture that's shown here is from the middle of the park, and it shows Old Atlantic Street with the Strand Theater in the background, H.G. Hill's grocery store, Kroger's first store that was located where the shoe store is right now. So we had plenty of everything right downtown for everybody, including the park. And not being a county seat, Tullahoma didn't have the usual courthouse square for those people that wanted to have some rest and recreation there. So a warm spot for those people to gather was in front of the brick wall there at Taylor's Pharmacy, which is now the veranda. And these are some of our leading citizens that made some of the great decisions of the world in religion and economics and politics. And if any of this group that normally would be in Davidson Park, they chose this spot to be, and if any of them mentioned work or labor, they were thrown out of the group. And here's some high school kids that we had our pep rallies there in the park prior to a ball game, and just had a wonderful time in the park. I remember photographing Albert Gore Sr.'s speeches when he was running for Congress in 1939, and little Al and his sister were playing out in front of the platform. And the highlight of Davidson Park was our good buddy Bill, the groundhog. On and in Davidson Park were some canna plants, and the groundhogs had a home there, and the home for groundhogs is called a hutch. And without any problems at all, right on schedule, Bill would come out every February the 2nd, and across the street from the park was the Candy Kitchen, a soda fountain place that provided a place for the teenagers to gather, and they made real good candy there and had this traditional soda fountain. And somebody went over and brought Bill, the groundhog, a ice cream cone. And he just enjoyed it so much and looked for it every year. And Mr. Polk Ross, the editor of the Tullahoma Guardian, made this picture and did a story on Bill every year. And they got to be such good friends. I don't know how they communicated with each other. but Bill said he liked vanilla better than any other flavor. And he was just enjoying that so much. I don't know whether he had any brothers or sisters or not, but he was there every time, and right there in the middle of Davidson Park. And we maybe someday can have a park back in that area somewhere, because it's really nice. And I thank you for watching. This is not the end of the story, because we've got a lot more to come in the Millennium Minute. Thank you.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department. Need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Woo.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size.
Yeah.
Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, I'm going to do a little housekeeping right now. It has come to my attention that there is a message being said out there that if you are not a member, registered member of a party, be it Republican or Democratic Party, that you cannot vote in this primary on one side or the other without being a member. Now, seeing as how the only candidates on the primary this year for local elections are all members of the Republican Party. I have done this because I'm an independent. I don't carry a card saying I'm Republican or Democrat. I vote for who I think the best person is. So, all you have to do is go to the primary, be ye Republican or be ye Democrat, and put a check in the box that says Republican, because it is the Republican primary, and cast your vote. Because whoever wins the primary election will be the winner, because there are no Democratic candidates. So I don't think that people who are not registered as a Republican Party member can be kept from voting on the best candidate in Coffee County or Tullahoma just because what party you're in. This is the election that decides the winner, who is responsible for everybody's business, not just one party. So, go vote. Mark the box and vote for your favorite candidate in the primary. Okay, now with that said, we're going to go right now and we're going to have a fella on who is involved in this primary election. And this is a political announcement paid for by the candidate. He has chosen to speak before you on our network. And at that point, because we do not stand with one side or the other, we don't put political signs in our yard out here because we don't feel as news media we can make a choice. We can make a statement, but we're not having signs out there. So this gentleman has chosen to buy time to come before you and plead his case as a candidate for Coffee County property assessor, tax assessor. And this is William Huell Golston. And he is one of how many candidates? Three candidates. And unless I find a question that I want to ask, this is not a siege on him. This is the time that he's paying for because he knows our show gets watched. And this is a way for him to talk to the public and try to sell himself as the best candidate for the tax assessor. And William, thanks for coming.
Well,
I'm going to ask you one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Is Huell, which is your middle name, is that a family name?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
William, all of it's a family name. Different sides of the family.
Sure.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
But Huell is not a real common name.
No, sir.
Anymore.
I know of 2 or 3 of us.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
sir.
William, the floor is yours. There's your camera right there.
All right.
And go forth right over here. That one right
Sir.
there.
The one in the middle.
No, that's both of us.
Oh, all right.
That's that one right there on
Okay.
that side. There you go. Now you're looking at
Yeah,
them.
I'm a novice at this. So,
You
yeah.
got them, man. You got them. Sell it.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is William Huell Golston. As you said, that is a mouthful, but that is my name, and I am running for Coffee County Property Assessor. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself. I guess start off as how I ended up here in Coffee County. Mom and Dad. My dad, Bill Golston, I took a position at the base, and he was called Goldie out there. We all have nicknames, so especially with a name like that. But Dad worked at the base until he retired, and my mom, Colleen Golston, she's from Warren County originally, and that's how we kind of ended up in Coffee County on the other side of the county. But in Coffee County, she wanted to be close to her family. Dad had a position at the Cape Canaveral and then out in California. Mom said it's time to go closer to home. So they moved back here before I was born and lived out in the county. We got annexed into Manchester later on in my life. But I grew up in Manchester or Coffee County. I went to high school there, graduated, and like my dad, my mom and dad are big influences on me. My dad had been in the military. He was a World War II veteran. And I ended up going in the Marine Corps right after high school, and then served my first enlistment and got out of the Marine Corps and went to college. I went to UT and started just a general studies degree and took an economics course and found out, hey, I'm pretty good at this and I understand it, and I was intrigued by it. So I pursued an economics degree and got a bachelor's of science in economics. During that time, I got married to my wife, Nancy Fish, also from Coffee County, and we started our life together at that point, and she ended up getting a position with Clemson University. So we moved to down around Charleston, South Carolina. I had family down there, spent quite a bit of time down there. I continued my education and started working in the financial services business. I worked through a lot of the military base down there, helping folks transition because I kind of had that background. I attended the College of Charleston and got a financial planning program, graduation from that. And after a couple of years, we decided we wanted to move back to Coffee County, start our business, and raise our family. So we did that. And I started a business, again, in financial services. I had a friend of mine that was in a similar business. We started a business together. And then on the morning of 9/11, we were sitting in the J&J restaurant over in Manchester having breakfast, and everything changed at that point. I ended up going back into the Marine Corps and serving my country. After a couple of years, the Marine Corps couldn't figure out what to do with me, enlisted. I'd been commissioned through the Army National Guard, and served in Tennessee Army National Guard, South Carolina Army National Guard, and got out to come back and start my business. So after a couple of years, the Marine Corps decided, well, you got a commission, we need officers. So at 41 years old, I went back through Quantico, graduated TBS. I was, at that time, I understand I was the oldest person to go through that program, and started my service as a Marine Corps officer at that time. Had the opportunity and great privilege of being company commander of and unit commander of 3 different organizations. I was a tank officer, combat engineer, and I served with the Marine Special Forces when they were standing that up. They had to augment people, wasn't Special Forces, but had the pleasure to serve with them in a joint command. Deployed with tanks to Iraq, and ended up retiring in 2019 from the Marine Corps. And at that point, I wanted to get more involved in the community, so I took an appointment with the Coffee County Industrial Board. I've been on there, this is about my 8th year there, and I'm currently serving as the director of the Park Development Committee. So yeah, through that, I've tried to give back to the community, and when you do that, when you put yourself out there, there's always conversations about getting more involved. And I was approached about several opportunities, and then when I was approached about Coffee County Property Assessor, well, I decided, well, I've got a background in real estate, building trades. I worked off and on in construction, paying my way through college and paying my wife's way through college, and always enjoyed that industry. It's good to be able to see what you've built, and I had that background in financial services and taxes, so I thought, yeah, that's something I can do, and I do want to get more involved. So that's how I ended up putting my hat in the game for being Coffee County Property Assessor. And I'm new at this, so I've been out trying a couple of different strategies. I've gone old and some new, using Facebook and media like this, radio, but I've been out knocking on doors and meeting people, going to events. I've met a lot of good people and had a lot of interesting questions. Some of them didn't pertain to the property assessment, but interesting nonetheless. So I'm not afraid of questions. So yeah, if you've got a question, I'd be more than happy to entertain it. But basically, the property assessor, what we do is we value property, and we keep records of that property, and services that we provide are your opportunity as a citizen of Coffee County to come in and take a look. And if you have any questions or any concerns about that assessment, there's opportunities to come and talk to people in the office, and there's boards of equalization, whether it's local or state, that'll take care of you.
Okay, people usually don't really understand a lot of that.
Right.
They go, wait a minute, they're going to raise my taxes. How can they do that? Well, usually when taxes get raised, assessments have to go down, don't they?
Yes. Well,
the county or the city, either one, doesn't just go, we need more money, we're going to jack the property tax up.
Right. You can't go in and reassess existing properties. In theory, you shouldn't go back in and reassess existing properties and raise your revenue based by that method. The increase of revenue comes from new construction, right, and new properties. So ideally, the certified tax rate is revenue neutral. When your reassessment comes up every 4 years, reappraisal, and you go in and you reappraise everything, then that should equal out. It doesn't always mean that your taxes are going to be lowered or raised, but in theory, that is revenue neutral.
Right.
So new revenue comes from growth, which there is predictions of
huge growth,
continuation
around here.
of growth. Yes, sir.
Okay. You know, usually when someone wants to take on a beast, they come up with a new way to wrangle that beast, a new way to rope it, better way to get it in the corral and keep it in the barn. So, what are there things that the way this office is being run, or and I'm not trying to beat up on anybody who's there.
Yes, sir.
Are there new ticks that you have in mind that might make something that possibly is running okay run even better?
Well, I would say that's one of the questions I've addressed when I'm out talking to people, and that come up during the forum, whether there's people that are getting favoritism there. My experience in that office, I have no proof of that. I would say that one of my opponents had a good answer to that. There's people that build relationships in there because they're in there all the time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting favorite treatment there. I would say that needs to be addressed, though, because you can't dismiss people's worries about that.
Right.
We see that on that national level, where there seems to be multiple tiers of justice or representation.
Oh, certainly.
So that's one of the big things that I think there needs to be some more public outreach. Let people know exactly what the job is, and let them know that office is open to everyone. And like I said, I see no evidence that there wasn't. And as far as going in and making changes, I would prefer to go in and evaluate. That's the way I've done, whether I was opening a new small business or taking over an existing small business, or in the military, whether it was a new unit, which I've stood up new units, or existing unit. Go in, look and see where we are right now, and develop those goals of where we want to be, and then come up with those changes. I do have some ideas for innovations. I mean, there's new technology all the time coming out.
Sure.
And when you've got these assessments that are coming up, this is a little bit different from my experience in real estate, where you come in and it's a individual assessment of how much your fair market value of your property is. This is, you're doing it on a bigger scale, because there's tens of thousands of properties out there. So innovations in technology, you've got to look at those, and you've got to start using as much technology as you can, because we've got, like I said, tens of thousands of properties, whether it's real property, your real estate, residential or commercial, or if it's your personal property in a business. So you've got to look at new technologies, and you've got to be able to use those. I've got some ideas about them. Some of those we're not quite ready for, but yeah, innovation is something that's going to have to happen.
Well, you know, in my lifetime, I've dealt with government. I was involved with grants at the Housing Authority at one point, and government usually runs about 10 years behind on their level of technology, because the people who spend the money have other places they want to spend the money.
Yes, sir.
And technology, most of the time when you're dealing with governmental technology, is way behind what's out there. Very seldom does government operate on the cutting edge of technology.
Particularly on a local and city level.
National level, probably so.
In some departments, yes, sir. And that's understandable, because you want to be, I'm fiscally conservative as far as just going out and spending money on new technologies if it's not going to work, and that's why I say I'd like to go in there and see what are the opportunities. Where people see challenges, you can look at it as an opportunity, see what we can do, remain fiscally responsible with that budget, but still innovate.
Okay. If someone wanted to have a sit down with you, how would they go about making that happen?
I've got an active candidate Facebook page. One good way is to reach out through a direct message, and I'm more than happy. I've tried to get out and meet as many people as I can, but it's a big county, and this was a compressed season for this campaign, and then the weather has not quite cooperated with me. But yeah, if you'd reach out to me, I would be more than happy to come and sit down and talk to you.
Okay, now how about telling our audience when is early voting start?
Early voting starts tomorrow, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's
Yes,
Day
sir.
is early voting.
Through the 27th of February. Yes, sir.
And there are, I know in Tullahoma, it's at CD Stamps. So do you know where the location?
The county building.
Yes, sir. In Manchester?
Yes, sir.
Is for the county, and there's only one of those during early voting,
Correct,
right?
and then all the other areas will be open day of March 5th.
Right, day of March 5th.
Yes, sir.
So, how does someone can somebody ring you up, or what's your email address, or do you want to give that out to our audience here?
If they can spell my name, it's William Golston at Hotmail is my email address, and then my cell phone number.
What is hotmail.com?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And then my cell phone number is 615-406-3773. I've still got that 615 number I've had for years.
Well, it doesn't make any difference anymore.
No, sir.
Not like it used to.
Not like when we were all 615. That's been a few years.
Look at that camera right there and tell them what you want them to do.
I'd like for you to vote for me, William Huell Golston, for Coffee County Property Assessor.
William, thank you.
Thank you,
Good
sir,
luck
for having
to you.
me.
You're more than welcome, my friend.
Yep.
See you on the street.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages.
I want to invite y'all to come by Clayton's, downtown Tullahoma. We try to serve the community, the area, and we try to help people with their feet and comfortable shoes. We still measure feet. We have a great new arch mat. We have insoles. Please come see us at Clayton's and let me help you find some comfortable shoes for those achy feet.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton's Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
STEM is everywhere, like here, behind the scenes of The Walking Dead.
When we break down clothes, we tumble it with trisodium phosphate, rock salt, and dish detergent.
We stitched together images of our model and created a 3D set that can be walked through in a VR headset.
We're able to turn 12 walkers into 1,000 walker boards.
STEM can create new worlds on and off the screen. What will you make with STEM? Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get ready to make a splash for a cause. The Duck River Watershed Society invites you to its 3rd annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, March 2nd from noon until 3 at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp area in Manchester, Tennessee. Be part of the movement for sustainability, health, and education for the Duck River, America's most diverse waterway, home to over 650 aquatic species and water supply for more than 300,000 people. Mark your calendars and register to meet us at River Forge Road on March 2nd. Let's clean up, team up, and make a splash together.
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
Times are very challenging right now, and stress levels are high.
Reports indicate overdoses on the rise in communities across the state of Tennessee.
Those experiencing addiction and their loved ones may be struggling to navigate through all the change.
We want you to know that deaths from overdose are preventable.
And help is available.
Anytime.
Day or night.
How do I know?
How do I know?
I am the face of recovery in Tennessee.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman, sometime known as Blinky. And this is Pat Welch, sometime known as Scratchy.
and we're here today with the segment 91 of the Conversation with John and Pat. And we're working on those nervous habits, John. We've been called out by our wives, and I'm going to stop scratching. I've got a death grip on these arms here, and we may toothpick your eyeballs to keep you from blinking.
We're going to do a little song that Harry Carey used to sing at the 7th inning of the ball game. Harry Carey was it Cubs?
Cubs. Middle of the 7th inning stretch.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the park. Buy me some popcorn and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I never get back. Oh, it's root for the Wildcats. If they don't win, it's a shame. 'Cause it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. That was short and sweet, Pat.
Harry is somewhere smiling on that, John. That was magnificent.
You know, he's one of those that wore the great big glasses. Great big glasses. I bet he could see out
everywhere. He could see the Detroit look like with those things. Oh, me. What you looking for?
Well, we're looking for a baseball team, a great baseball team of Tullahoma Wildcats.
All right. John, I don't know if you're living out on the fringes of the city, and you may not.
I live in town now, Pat.
Well, you're out on the outskirts, and you may not. The information may not got all the way to you, but the mayor set up a sports council, and the sports council is promote all sports in Tullahoma. One of the first things they're going to do, or have done, is they're going to set up a Hall of Fame, and I believe the first induction is going to be 12 teams or individuals that will be inducted, I think, February the 9th. But one of those teams, of 2 teams in the 12 inductees, is the 1974 State Baseball Championship at THS, which I think it was the first state championship team in Tullahoma at the high school level after Wallace Wade's pole state champion.
There wasn't a playoff, is what you're saying.
Correct.
There wasn't.
It was voted, and it was prep school, and some of them, I believe, some of them were post high school, and Tennessee Military Academy and Sweetwater used to be where somebody that needed to brush up on his grades would take a postgraduate year. I think there were some of those at Fitzgerald Clark, but it wasn't a public school. It was a private
absolutely
school.
Not.
But it was the first public school state championship that was won in Tullahoma. It was coached by Coach Mathis, Jerry Mathis, who was a legendary coach in Tullahoma. This was in 1974. The previous year in '73, he'd been a runner-up, and then later on he had another runner-up and another state championship team. I think that was about the time your son was playing.
That's when Chris and several others played.
Coach Revis's boy Craig. There were several good players in there, but they had the '74 team. Had a lot of experience, he also played some sophomores that were vital contributors to that team. Let's talk about some of the players now, Philip, if you'll put that up. And
quit scratching, Pat.
But I've got off my thighs. I'm down to my shins now. Let's see here, John. Bill Brantner, who I believe is living in Moore County now, played third. Mike Howell, who had moved into town a couple years previous, was a really good athlete, good football player, real good punt returner. He played shortstop. Ronnie James was on second. Greg Hempkin, I believe when Jerry Farrell wasn't pitching, was on first. Jim Parrish was a catcher. Ricky Pless was a center fielder. And Tim Finch, I believe, was in right field with Joey Tuck in left field. And there were several other contributors in there. I think Jeff Pruitt played a lot. Dale Mosley pitched a lot. But now from that picture, let's see if we can't get this right. On the far left, and we're going to go from left to right. The first is Coach Mathis. Then was Mike Stamps. Brad Welch was a manager on that team. He's behind him, and then keep going. Mike Haynes, Greg Searcy, Mike Howell, Ronnie James, Bill Brantner, Jeff Pruitt, John Jarrett, Ricky Pless, Dale Mosley, JR or Jerry Farah, Tim Finch, Joey Tuck, and that's Mr. McClure that's presenting the trophy. He was the principal at the high school at the time, and he was also he was chairman of the board of control of TWSAA. He had an important part in the TWSAA. Then Jimmy Parrish, Bobby Riddell, Greg Hempkin, Butch Duke was another manager, I believe, and then Ted Frisbee on the right was assistant coach and a long-time physics teacher at the high school, and eventually, I believe, was on the school board in Coffee County.
Yep.
That state tournament was played in Tullahoma, and I believe there were 4 other teams involved. I should have boned up a little bit more, but they played in pools, and then the winners of the pools played each other, and I believe it was the best out of 3, so you had to win 2 games. A lot of games, a lot of pitchers, and a lot of tired pitchers when it was over with, because J.R. Fair was voted by either the Tennessean or the Banner as the most valuable player in Middle Tennessee, including Nashville, which the Nashville papers pretty well ignore Lower Middle Tennessee now, but he was, and we had several people on the all mid-state and first, second, and third honorable mention, that type of thing at the time. But JR was a great pitcher, and he pitched at least 2 full games in 5 days, I believe it was. And then he finished up a little bit of the championship game. He pitched in the semis, which was his second game in 5 days, and they played Cookeville those last 2 games, beat them back to back. And the first game, JR struck out 12, walked none, and only gave up 4 hits. And they scored, or we scored rather, I believe on air. I don't think it was an earned run. I may be wrong about that. I'm going to start scratching. Let me hold on to this. But at the end of the game, the last out that Cookeville had, they had a guy on third, and obviously the manager or coach thought that the man up at bat, there was 2 outs.
He
may have been a good batter, but he realized that JR was going to strike him out. So he had the runner on third, which was Stanley Shanks, and that's a big name in Cookeville. The Shanks, their father, I believe, was a school administrator, and his older brother was a real good player at Cookeville and was a great player at Motlow for Coach Revis. Well, anyway, Stanley's on third base, and the coach doesn't feel like that batter had much of a chance against Mr. Farah, and they tried to steal home. And Jimmy Parrish, we said, was the catcher. He blocked the plate. Last out was at the plate, and I imagine mayhem broke out. But Tullahoma had to win another game, and JR is about out of gas. And I think in the championship game, both teams, of course, out of pretty low on pitchers. Joey Tuck started that game, and then he was relieved by Dale Mosley, and we had about a 2 or 3 run lead, and Dale started getting hit a little bit as he got tired, and Coach Mathis decided if he's going to get beat, he's going to get beat with us.
Beat with the best.
With the best he could, if there was anything left to the best, anyway. So Coach told me this a couple months ago, that he went to the mound and asked Jerry how he felt. He said he thought he'd be all right. Let me warm up. He said he threw about 4 absolute flamethrowers. And then he kind of looked at Coach, and Coach was still asking for more. And he said, "Coach, the best thing you can do is just go sit in that dugout. I can take care of this." And he took care of the next 3 batters, struck them all out, and Tullahoma won the first state championship that they'd won.
Pat, we have mentioned JR quite a bit. But what did he tell you? And he told me the same thing. He had an aunt that saved, or maybe his mother, saved these clippings.
Yeah. He told my wife when he brought her to the scrapbook.
And he said, "I want you to know that this team was not about me. It was about us together as a baseball team.
They had
and that's the humility that JR showed. And those other players, dynamite players.
They were all really good hitters. They hit all the way down the batting order. Pless was a great hitter.
Yeah.
Howell was a great hitter. Finch had 2 runs batted in one of those later games, according to the newspaper. They had a hitting lineup now.
One thing I remember is Franklin County was in our district. And by George, they were good.
We had as hard a time in the district tournament as we did in the state
and Tullahoma at the district level against Franklin County started. I remember listening it on the radio, Pat. I was too spoiled to go out that night, I guess. And they.
Did you say spoiled or cheap?
And they hit that ball. Tullahoma hit that ball, and they ran up a big lead on Franklin. And from that point on, it seemed like through the rest of the time till the finals of the state tournament.
They had a great team.
We're going to have to end up, Pat. Yeah. But this has been good talking about that team.
Let's dig on Coach Revis a little bit, just a second. Because the last night, the paid attendance at the finals was 1,432 paid, which was a state record.
Well, Coach Mathis loves to know that his team would make money.
Oh yeah, he's not opposed to making money. That broke the record out since '74. The previous record was also set in Tullahoma, and it was Coach Revis's Franklin County team that won the state championship. There wasn't but about 40 fewer. And I don't know if Mr. McClure and Coach Mathis snuck in an extra couple people there to make sure they set the record or not. But it was a great game and a great event for
Coach Mathis. Did a good job with those boys.
He certainly did,
and he was patient in lots of ways, and so we enjoyed that, Pat.
Well, thank you, John.
Good job.
And maybe if this goes well enough, maybe management will. We're setting kind of our sights are on segment 100. Maybe they'll bring us back and we'll have a little segment on every inductee of the Sports Hall of Fame.
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That'd be good, Pat.
Yeah. All right, John, that wraps up segment 91, and it was a fine segment. But it's not the end of the segments, we hope. If management will allow us to come back, we're coming. We got more stories. Thank y'all.
Talking history about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
Do you love sports? Then you should know about STEM. Because maximizing nutrition, analyzing peak muscle performance,
calculating the perfect shot, and more are all made possible by science, technology, engineering, and math. In fact, there are more careers than ever in sports science. So if you have a passion for sports, then think about getting involved in STEM and improve everyone's game on and off the field. Get inspired at SheCanSTEM.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, last week, or week before last, sometimes I just can't remember. But we had Connor Austell in here to do one of our Melodies Wrapped Around Life shows, which is a show that I do from time to time about the music industry. And usually we try to showcase not the stars, although we had Hunter Girl in here, who is a verified 100% star. But the people, the grinders, the folks, the sessions players, the second tier people that play in the bars and the showrooms in Nashville, that's the folks that people come to see, the ones who grind the music out, songwriters. And Connor Austell is one of those people, and I had him on. Of course, Connor's a local boy and has played in South Jackson, and he and his bride Gracie sing together. Matter of fact, he even proposed to her on the country show stage. So I did a show with Connor, and amazingly enough, he shared with us his first song that he ever wrote, and I think he was about 8, 9 years old, and it was a love song to a little girl in school. And I got him to do that song. Number one, it is an absolutely incredibly thought out song for someone that age, but it's a perfect song for Valentine's Day. Here's Connor Austell.
It's called When You Look at Me That Way. Still remember it just like it was yesterday. I had a wonderful time with you. I hope you feel the same way too. And now before you have to go, I want you to know that when you look at me that way, there's something I just had to say. I don't want you to go away. I just need you here today. When you look at me that way, our love is bigger than the sky. You make me feel like I can fly. Girl, you shine just like the sun. I know you're the one. When you look at me that way, there's something I just had to say. I don't want you to go away. I just need you here to stay. When you look at me that way, when you look at me that way, That's it.
When you look at me that way,
It was simple.
that is
but
timeless.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
look,
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
Get ready to make a splash for a cause. The Duck River Watershed Society invites you to its 3rd annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, March 2nd from noon until 3 at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp area in Manchester, Tennessee. Be part of the movement for sustainability, health, and education for the Duck River, America's most diverse waterway, home to over 650 aquatic species and water supply for more than 300,000 people. Mark your calendars and register to meet us at River Forge Road on March 2nd. Let's clean up, team up, and make a splash together. So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
You know, Peggy, it was kind of funny. A couple of sections ago here on John and Pat,
Yeah.
they were talking about, that's an old one, and it's really cool that it turned up this way. And it was right before the first time we had a Sports Hall of Fame induction.
Oh.
And Pat and John were talking about the people who were going to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame. Well, guess what? This year, Pat Welch was inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame. And what we're going to bring you right now is his induction and his remarks.
Fabulous.
Pat Welch is one of Tullahoma's favorite sons. He's been inducted in the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame for his contributions as a volunteer and his involvement with the Tullahoma Youth Wrestling Club for over 30 years. But Mr. Welch is being recognized for so much more. He's been active as a coach with Tullahoma Little League, Frank Mullins Youth Football League, and Tullahoma Church League basketball. But wait, there's more. Mr. Welch has served as a Tullahoma City Alderman, Tullahoma Board of Education member, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, church leader, and Tullahoma Rotary Club member. But wait, there's more. In 2017, Mr. Welch was inducted into the Tennessee chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame and was named Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. In 2019, he was named Tullahoma News Citizen of the Year and in 2022, he was inducted into the inaugural AAU Wrestling Hall of Fame. Mr. Welch is also a husband, a dad, a granddad, a brother, son, coach, leader, and mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Welch is approaching legend status in Tullahoma. Have you ever noticed that some people who have accomplished the most are often the most humble? When I contacted Mr. Welch and asked him about his favorite sports memory, all he wanted to talk about were the accomplishments of the young people he coached over the years. He wanted to talk about the importance of investing in the youth of Tullahoma and how, in ways big and small, he helped young people grow and be better citizens. Mr. Welch was also quick to thank the people that helped him along the way. That, in my opinion, is a definition of humbleness. Pat and his wife, Beth, have 3 children, John, Martha, and Michael, and 3 grandchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and honored to announce Pat Welch as a member of the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Some of y'all probably thought I was going to use a smartphone for my notes, but you're wrong. I want to acknowledge my family and friends that are here tonight, especially my wife, Beth. They all have been a great example of grace in my life, grace being love that's completely undeserved. I might point out that my mother is 93 years old now. My mother-in-law is 98, and both are watching this event on television at assisted living facilities. My mother was mildly surprised when she learned of my induction tonight. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, was absolutely shocked. Let me give you a short story, and then we can get some inductees up here that are more deserving. To his friends and family, he was known as the HBC, head ball coach, Coach John Olive. Coach has a multitude of great attributes besides being the HBC for 29 years and winning Tullahoma's state football championship. He has great people and communication skills, and particularly he can give bad news or a frank evaluation without hurting someone's feelings. Soon after I had been inducted into the Tennessee chapter of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, I ran into John, and he congratulated me and followed up with these words: "That's really a longevity award, isn't it?" The way he delivered the statement, I didn't think much about it. But about 6 weeks later, thinking about our conversation, I thought, I think the HBC may have dissed me. But soon after, I found a picture of a 1994 group of youth wrestlers, and that picture only had 18 wrestlers. But they went on to win 9 individual state wrestling championships, 1 state high school golf championship, 1 wrestling NCAA All-American, and the last from the state of Tennessee, which was in 2008. However, more importantly, the 94 group produced 2 medical doctors, 2 PhDs, 2 master's degrees, and no telling how many bachelor's degrees. And finally, I recently discovered that one of our wrestlers, while serving in the Middle East during the Iraq War, directed every ordnance fired into Fallujah. And I found out tonight he's here. I wish Ian Duncan would stand up. Is he still here? Stand up. Joe Lester and I like to joke about somebody being a great American. Ian is a great American. Now, if one group could produce all those subsequent achievements Think what 31 years of longevity may have produced well after their wrestling careers. The HBC didn't diss me. He only acknowledged and complimented the many years of hopefully positive influences coaches have at every level on the lives of their athletes. Thank you, Coach Olive. Thank you, the Sports Council, and God bless each of you. Thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
You know, Peggy, tomorrow's Valentine's Day, and the next big event after Valentine's is Easter. And that's coming on. You know, this is the first time I can remember that Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday were on the same day.
Oh, interesting.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, that is interesting.
It is.
That's because February has an extra day in it?
I think so.
I think that has something to do with it.
Something like that. And where Easter falls.
Yeah.
It depends on how many weeks there are and how the Easter thing falls as to where it is versus where we are now.
Right.
Because sometimes there's a week difference in it.
And
that way you have to do without something you love for another week.
There you go.
Brussels sprouts.
You love Brussels sprouts.
I'd do without Brussels sprouts.
I eat Brussels sprouts. I eat anything, honestly.
You know, I don't mind them. Hey, a couple of things I want to say here before we leave. We were talking about love, and there are three: hope, faith, and love. Hope, the fuel that gets us to the station. Faith, the ticket that allows us passage. And love, the essence of all that follows as we bask in eternal peace.
It's pretty.
I like this one.
Okay.
Rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief, doctor, lawyer, Indian chief, all bear the seeds to spawn a creative.
Good.
You know, sometimes I'll look at some of the stuff that's done in the Southwest, the artwork and the textiles and stuff,
Right.
and some of that stuff is so creative.
Oh, yeah.
The Indian stuff and everything, just beautiful. And other countries, you know, we have a friend that's over in Kiev, or Kyiv, that
it's
sends
Kiev.
stuff to Fran, and so her work is just phenomenal. So, the creatives around the world, I hope you have a wonderful Valentine's Day. Easter's on the way. Peggy and I are going to smile and wave goodbye because guess what? The greatest of them is love, and we love you, everyone. Goodbye. See you next time. Be safe out there.